Hey, guess what? Apparently there's been some leaks and some confirmed information for what's coming at E3. We're getting ridiculously close to E3 starting. Of course, I will be covering things related to RPGs and MMORPGs. Probably not a whole lot of MMORPGs at this E3. Could be surprised though, you never know. But there have been some very fantastic leaks as far as games upcoming that we're probably going to be seeing at E3. The first one I got to mention is a game that leaked called Elden Ring. Okay, and the reason that I'm talking about this game is because it is being developed by From Software. We all know those guys, right? Who make some very difficult, challenging games, but also the storyline apparently is being developed by George R.R. Martin. We know him from writing the book series of Game of Thrones. So very exciting to get someone with that pedigree in storytelling involved in an RPG. Now, we don't know much about that one. We just know that it looks like that's what's going to happen. And to think that you might have the Dark Souls creators involved with a storyteller like George R.R. Martin, and the dark, kind of gritty atmospheres that From Software seems to create, and then you mix that with kind of a dark and gritty storyline that George R.R. Martin could make, and that sounds like a winner to me. So I'm pretty excited. I hope it's probably, let's keep our expectations in check, we'll probably just get a very brief teaser for it, and it's probably coming way far in the future, and you know, that's okay, but just keep your expectations in check. But it will be cool to see what they're going for here, what kind of game it's going to be. I'm hoping we get that information at E3, and of course I'll cover it more as we find out more. Now, the other leak looks very exciting, and there's a little bit more substance to this one, and that is that there is a new Tales game coming. The popular RPG Tales series, great RPG, great JRPG series, and we got a couple of screenshots that leaked on 4chan, and they're looking legit. It's looking really cool, and I gotta say, if this is real, if this is really what this is, and it's really a Tales game, and I believe it is, that logo and everything looks pretty legit, it's about time for a new Tales game anyway, so it all kind of lines up, so it's very believable. But if this is real, I do have to say that it looks like they're going for an art style that reminds me of Xenoblade Chronicles 2 on the Switch. So, you know, and that was a really cool art style, so that's definitely a good thing, I think. And hopefully they're pushing the series forward a little bit, and hopefully, even more importantly, as far as storyline goes, hopefully they really kick it in, you know, into full gear there, and we end up with a wonderful new Tales game. That's what I hope. Now let's move over into what we know is real, and that would be that Grandia, or Grandia, I don't know, however you've decided to pronounce it, is getting a remake or a HD kind of release. You know, honestly, with the details that we have so far, honestly, I think it's safe to just call it a straight up remake, because and I know some of you are going to get worried about this, so am I, but they're going to be redoing the sprites, because the original Grandia was an interesting game. It came out originally actually on the Sega Saturn in Japan, but here in North America we never got a release on the Sega Saturn. However, it was released for the first time on the PlayStation, and that was kind of common because the Sega Saturn was super popular in Japan, but not so much in North America, and that's a whole story all unto itself. Sega Saturn's my favorite console of all time. Anyway, though, it was an excellent game. It had 3D backgrounds, and it had two-dimensional sprites. Anybody who played Breath of Fire 4 or even Breath of Fire 3, that sort of thing. It had a wonderful, huge, awesome story. The characters, I loved them. It was a wonderful game. Grandia is one of those games that kind of fell the wayside as time went on. We got some more sequels, got a couple of honestly horrible games with the Grandia name attached to it. The Grandia 2 I thought was also well, and the way they're talking of doing this is that the Grandia 1 remake would be bundled with Grandia 2, at least for the Switch. Now, this game isn't only coming out for the Switch, it will also come out for PC, and I'm sure over time it will also come to PS4 and Xbox One, or at least I would assume so. Now, they're doing a lot of resolution updates, of course widescreen support, They're also going to be updating the cinematic videos, the UI, the textures on the 3D backgrounds and things, as well as adding some new effects like bloom and mapping features and blur effects. They're also, of course, going to be adding achievements. There will be the Japanese audio with subtitles or the English language support. Also, there's going to be the game manual included digitally like they tend to do these days. And the source code, I found this kind of interesting. The source code that they're going to be using is from both the PS1 and the Sega Saturn. And if you talk to people who actually played imported over the Sega Saturn version of the game, they say the Sega Saturn version was better, that the colors pop better. And you know, to just be completely honest, the Sega Saturn was much better at sprites. It just was built that way. Of course, we're looking that it will have gamepad and keyboard support, and with, you know, you'll be able to remap the controls, all that kind of thing. So it looks like they're pretty much, in the grand scheme of things, they're updating everything. So that's why I think they're gonna probably call it a remaster in the end, but I think it's safe to, this is enough features added to it to where calling a remaster remake, who cares? Okay, we're getting Grandia, and it's gonna hopefully look better and still retain its original charm. Now, Grandia 2 is also going to have the game manual in digital form. It's also going to be the source code from the Anniversary Edition that was on the Sega Dreamcast source code. It's also they're going to work a lot with the video audio desync and that kind of thing. And the weirdest thing about this is really bizarre to me, is that Gung Ho has announced that they will only be publishing this game, the HD remaster, in North America and Europe. It will not be available in Japan. That is really weird to me, because it is a JRPG. It's from Japan. It was originally made by a company called Game Arts, and it was originally on the Sega Saturn. It released to awesome reviews. Everybody loved the Grandia game. A lot of people at that time, because of when it was released and everything, a lot of people were even saying it was better than Final Fantasy VII, which I can understand why. This is just an exciting game to be getting a re-release, in my opinion. A lot of people are excited about Grandia 2. I'm not talking about it as much because I did love Grandia 2. I played it on the original Dreamcast. I want to say, I could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure Grandia 2 is the first RPG. I played on the Dreamcast. I know I played it before I played Skies of Arcadia, which was a ridiculously good RPG. But Grandia 1 was just better. I mean, I'm sorry. I love Grandia 2. I love that game, especially how they did the battle system. It was a lot of fun. There was a lot of strategy you could put into that to move enemies' turns and things like that with different moves and your placement and where you were and moving the characters around. All that kind of thing was really cool. But Grandia 1, just from the story alone, and also I'm just a big fan of that old school. I love sprites. I love RPGs. I love that time frame when we were mixing sprites with 3D backgrounds. I just loved that whole time. The Breath of Fire series, Grandia, I loved it, and there wasn't enough of it, in my opinion, before we moved over into all 3D models, thanks to Final Fantasy VII, probably. But in any case, I love Grandia 1, and I'm super excited that they're doing this, and I can't wait to replay the original Grandia. It's been so long, I can't wait. So that's where we're at right now, guys. Of course, there'll be more information for Elden Ring, which I'm going to be keeping my eye on, as well as the Tales series and the new game coming for it. We don't have a lot besides the logo for Elden Ring, but just knowing that that's something we're about to find out about is pretty exciting and definitely newsworthy. So I wanted to drop this information out to you guys, see what you think about it, and we'll have more information very soon. And of course, for people who just come to this channel because of what I mainly cover, which is Pantheon Rise and Fall, we're just in a pretty dry period right now. I do have some Pantheon content on its way, and in the meantime, thankfully we have some other RPGs to talk about until then. But thanks for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed the video, and until next time, God bless and happy gaming. I've been making videos all day. All the MMOs I play, all the raid bosses I slay, it's a video buffet, you can even hit replay. But please a subscribe. I can't even describe being part of my tribe. I'll even offer you a bribe, but just please subscribe and hit the join button too. 'Cause that's how I get paid. Thanks, guys.